what will post-Hurricane Ian Fort Myers Beach look like, and what will it take to get there? Thanks for sticking with us. I'm Nicole Gabe.
And I'm Russ McCaskey. Those are two questions that many of you are asking, and Wink News investigative reporter Celine MacArthur is on the hunt for answers.
Many of you are closely watching what's happening here on Fort Myers Beach, especially if you live here or you work here. Decisions being made now and in the near future will have a huge impact on anyone who has a stake on this island.
This has just been insane.
It isn't easy for William Dean Simmons to talk about Hurricane Ian. He says the experience was traumatizing.
Watching the water rise up your stairs on your third floor home, that's when you start panicking.
Julie and David Fitt evacuated, but were not spared the pain of returning to a disaster site. Their home gutted and everything they own, now piles of trash.
It was our dream. We were living it. We were actually living it.
Great Oak Middle School, 1995, Oxford, Connecticut. Right there.
I met Kevin Paradiso as he was digging through debris in his front yard, searching for anything salvageable, including his son's toys.
I need that. That's solid. That's gonna make him happy.
Why?
He doesn't have any left. He doesn't have no toys left. Thank you for helping me find this. This is going home.
As they work to rebuild their own lives, they wonder what will happen to their beloved community.
Just complete disorganized chaos. I mean, this has just been insane. What are people doing? The lack of information is our biggest problem.
Do you want to rebuild? Do you want to stay?
Yes, ma'am. There's nowhere else for us. My wife, she's 44 years old. She's born and raised right here in this house.
I think there's going to be a lot of properties that are going to be swept up by those who have enough money to invest. They're losing part of the charm of Fort Myers Beach, but evolution is evolution.
And that evolution has already begun. Cleanup is underway. But what really is the bigger picture? We introduce you to a man with a plan. Joe Orlandini is a home builder on Fort Myers Beach. He's lived there for more than 20 years and rode out the storm with his 2 children in one of his new builds. Orlandini recently toured the 7-mile stretch of devastation with us and offered builder insight into what it'll take to make it right by identifying and explaining what went wrong. The first clue is in the debris. He says this didn't come from the newer construction that's built to the most recent codes.
Those houses took the storm and were able to weather right through it.
These cottages, like many others on the island, didn't. They were swept away from their foundations.
When the wind picked up as they were floating, it pushed them through the canal,
where they ultimately landed near Estero Boulevard on someone else's property.
If these were all new structures and the water could come in and go out, and all we were dealing with was vegetation and yard things and lawn chairs and barbecues and garbage cans, we wouldn't really have a big story.
The story moving forward will be how Fort Myers Beach rebuilds to current code, making structures that will last. So these huge piles of debris will be a thing of the past.
Your house sitting on your property can't be the burden of somebody else's house on their property or somebody else's business on their property, where you have something that does come off or something that becomes a projectile or something that floats away.
The charm of this area isn't lost on Orlandini, who regrets the community didn't collectively do more to protect landmark sites.
I loved the character of the old houses, but we've lost it because we didn't do that extra step to take care of them, and we needed to. And why didn't we put concrete columns under some of the commercial buildings that we had on the beachfront that we could have saved.
He thinks the community can come up with a plan to engineer the character of the old homes and buildings into the new master plan. He says there's talk on the island about creating an architectural review committee to make this happen.
I support that. I agree with it. It goes against a little bit of what my building style may be today, but I support it as the look of what the town probably should be because it's the character of who we are.
For all of this to happen, he says community leaders need to come up with a concrete plan now. Building supplies are in short supply, and the surge in demand will make it even harder to get the essentials.
And the major one that I foresee us running into is going to be the electrical. So panels and meters are going to be difficult.
Homes and buildings won't be built back with wood, so they'll also need a lot of concrete and a way to get it on the island fast. Right now, traffic is worse than at the height of season.
So when a cement truck is all the way in town where they come from, they have to drive down here, and we have to be able to logistically get it here because of the nature of how we mix cement. There's a time frame. It's not like plywood where you just got to bring it down a truck and you plop it in the front yard.
And he believes the biggest slowdown may come from the Fort Myers Beach permit process.
Rebuilding a lot of the infrastructure is going to be the biggest part.
As more power and services are restored, people won't want to wait months to start fixing their homes and businesses.
They have to come up with a system and a way to simplify it so that people can put these things back together and inhabitate these houses again and live in them. So we have a community again, because right now we're uninhabitable.
Orlandini says the community also needs to help families who have lived here for generations stay on the island. As one man who's invested in the bigger plan and prosperity of Fort Myers Beach, he's helping where he can. That includes rebuilding Kevin Paradiso's family home.
I happen to have the resources and the capability and the manpower to help them put that house back together. And I want them to remain being my neighbors and want them to be back in that home and live there and have that life again.
Joe's beyond good, and I can't say enough about that gentleman. You're meeting good humans right now. There's bad ones, but there's really good humans, and they're coming out of the woodworks.
On Fort Myers Beach, I'm investigative reporter Celine MacArthur, Wink News.
Yeah, and a good plan is definitely needed.